Hey there, and happy Thursday, everyone. And coming to you a little bit earlier, just because that's the way the day goes. I'm not always in control of my schedule, and just happy to be here and sharing with you. And part of it is I had my card ready. Sometimes that can be the deciding factor of how my schedule and day goes too. So I'm not going to wait around for people to jump in because it's easier. I just dropped my card. It's easier for you guys to watch the replay, and sometimes when I come earlier, then some of you are still working and such. I'm just going to see though if my iPad's working, and it is. Hey there, Julie. So let me set down my iPad and I'll show you my card. So this is card number 3 already for Dawn Earlbeck's party. And I feel like I've done some pretty simple cards where I've done just some punches, and the first card didn't have a punch or die cut or anything. So today I kind of just did a lot with die cuts and such, and kind of happy with how it turned out, and thought it'd be kind of fun to throw something in for Christmas too. Hey there, Lisa. And with that, it's never too soon to start on Christmas. And today I'm using products from the Painted Christmas suite, and there's lots of die cuts, and sometimes with cards like this it takes a little bit longer to do a special card because of the number of steps and different things, but actually it came together quicker and faster than I thought. And Pam, you're watching too. So Pam said she loves die cuts. So today will be a fun card for you. So let me get my camera turned around so you can see Dawn's third card for her virtual stamp party a little bit better, and see what it looks like the right way. So here we go. 'Tis the season. I'm going to show you how easy it is to do 2-step stamping in a couple of the different areas and such. Hey there, Pam. Hi, Lois. Wow, there's more of you than I thought there would be today. So yeah, just very fun and festive looking, and I think a lot of it has to do with the paper too. But let me start and show you where these things are coming from. So the mini catalog has on pages 16 and 17 here the Painted Christmas suite. And so this is a huge suite. It has 2 stamp sets and 2 die, so actually 2 bundles. So stamp set, dies, and dies. So you can pick and choose if you go, oh, you know, I really like this and I really like this. So today I'm not helping because I'm using a lot of stamps from here, a lot of dies from here, and I'm actually pulling in a couple stamps from here. None of the dies today, but things could change by tomorrow when I show you Pam's party too, because I think I want to try and do some of that die cutting with that too. And instead of using the paper that's in here, actually, let me just show you. So this is a more of a close-up of a lot of what I'm using today here and the dies. But like I said, I am pulling in 'Tis the Season there, and then the other sentiment from that stamp set. It's a really big suite of products, but it's so pretty. And the paper is super pretty, but the paper that I'm pulling in is from Celebration because, like I said, I've been saying this a lot lately, we're on the last month, and when there's pretty paper to be used, like the Peaceful Prints, I want to show you guys some ideas with that. So I'm kind of just pulling in that striped paper from there. It was kind of hard to choose because the backside has a nice birch look there too. So you've seen me use all sorts of different papers, and last night I actually had a little trouble falling asleep because I was thinking of something fun I could do with that, and we've used that. Today I'm using this, and like I said, how fun is that birch paper background too? So oh, Pam, this will be good then for you to watch them in action. So hopefully I inspire you to use them. And here are the stamp sets, the 2 stamp sets up close too. So like this one's heavy on greetings, this one's heavy on the images and such too. Hi, Tori. Hi, Kay. Thanks for popping in. Alrighty, so since a bunch of you popped in, here's the card again today. And I think I want to just start with some stamping, and then I will kind of go back and forth probably between stamping and die cutting just because that's kind of how the card needs to go. And these are my color choices today. The inks I'm doing a lot with, like Crumb Cake, Espresso, Succulent, Evening Evergreen, Real Red. And then the actual cardstock colors here are going to be Sahara Sand, because that's what these stripes are, even though the inks I'm going with Crumb Cake. And I wasn't sure if that might look kind of clashy, but I like how the pine cones turned out. And I actually like that this is a different color, because I think it the Sahara Sand being lighter makes everything just kind of pop that way. And the Sahara Sand card base too makes everything just a little lighter, fresher, and kind of pulls off the difference between the lights and the dark greens by doing that combination too. Thanks, Pam and Kate. So yeah, Sahara Sand, Real Red, and Whisper White are my main colors here. So let me start out by stamping the pine cones. And this is something that I've learned with an experience with a couple of Stampin' Up! Events when they've had two-step stamping and dies. So I'm going to start with my, oh, what are the dies? Yeah, okay, very good. They're sitting here, and usually I'm going to get to them soon. Usually I pull them open to show you. So these are the seasonal labels dies. So those pair up with this stamp set if you're getting just one bundle. But the both of the bundles, the stamps and the dies and everything kind of interact. So from this die set, I'm using this big die here. And then I'm using like a greenery die here. I'm using two different pine cone dies, and then one of the label dies for the sentiment, and then this will be for like the sprig of holly berries and such too. And then after that, seriously, this is what's left. We've got lots of other little label dies, separate holly berries, another little sprig. And these are those little tabs that you can put in here to die cut on your labels here, and also with this if you want to make slits for your ribbon to go through. And it just kind of keeps going. More labels, holly leaves, and another like greenery, and some of the insides for the pine boughs and stuff. Let's see. Oh yeah, the pine cones stand out. Everything I'm looking for die cuts, pine cones, and ideas for Christmas. So this will be perfect for you, Pam. And your virtual party starts tomorrow. So I do want to continue using from the suite of products for your party, because I already have some ideas for that too. So this is really good timing. All right, so let me start with the crumb cake. Yeah, and thanks for asking. I love it when you guys have questions, because then I know that I can help you along the way. So let me use the biggest pine cone, and so there's 4 pine cones all together. This is the largest, and we're going to start with the light on there like so with crumb cake. And I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to go with the next largest pine cone here. Let me get my other piece of cardstock like so, and actually I'm going to flip that over. We're going to go like that, and hopefully I got that right. Sometimes I get a little nervous. Now I'm kind of wondering. I think I did that wrong. Yeah, I did. So we're going to scratch that. Pretend I didn't stamp that. And I'm actually going to want, that's the one in the middle. There we go. When I finished my card and laid them out, I was like, what if? Yeah. Okay. So let's go with this little round one. There we go. All right. So here we are. Okay, so we have those two. So do what I say, not as I do, or something like that. And those are both inked up, stamped out in crumb cake. And this I'm going to just go and cut right away. Even though it's 2-step stamping, if I do the die cutting first, it will make the second layer of stamping, I think, easier, because once you put that first layer of ink down, that is exactly what the die cut image is. And so we don't want to mess that up by putting on the second layer of ink yet. And so that's why I'm running this through first. All right. Like I said, lots of fun die cutting for Dawn's party today. So that makes it kind of like special, because like I said, I feel like my other 2 cards were like missing that die cut element, and I always like to include that at least at some portion. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the other 2 stamps here, And I'm opening up my early espresso, and that's going to be the darker ink that I'm going to use. And having this die cut, then it'll give me a better idea of exactly where that next layer should sit and go. And then I'm going to do that right here on top of that, like so. So then we have the two-step stamping, and that makes instant pine cones. How fun is that? Hi there, Joyce. So these we can just set aside there for now. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is take just a little piece of paper here and open up my Real Red ink pad. Actually I have a lot of ink pads for this project, so when those two I'm done with, I'm going to just set them aside. And then from the other stamp set that has the sentiments is the 'Tis the Season. So yeah, Pam, you love it, and it's just kind of that instant wow because of the two-step stamping. So this is one of those that it inks up everything around the sentiment and makes that be red, and then the reverse image 'Tis the Season stays white because I've inked it on the white cardstock. So this is done in Real Red. And then I think the other thing that I want to stamp right away, or actually ink up, is going to be, I'm going to take this, and then I'm going to switch to my soft succulent ink pad here, and I'm going to ink that up. This is kind of, I feel like, how I made my card too. It just kind of went in steps and spurts, like what does it need? What should I add next? And so it comes together, but it's kind of a little hokey pokey how it all happened. All right, so how pretty is just that little greenery there? And that, like I said, is done in soft succulent. So let's get the Big Shot, or excuse me, cut and emboss machine back over here to do some more die cutting. And I'll exchange that for my cutting or my stamping mat. And with this, I'm going to put this on here like so and run that through. Oops, and let's do this one at the same time too. I should be able to do both of these like so here. All right. Kind of lining it up with my left hand, so we'll see. I feel like there I had my cutting pad in my other hand, and that doesn't work too well. All right, just want that to go like so, because I feel like it'll show, because it's such a nice even rectangle. If it moves at all, it'll be obvious. All right, there we go. So we got that. I did count. There's 6 die cuts that this card does. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 of them done already. There we go. I dropped that one. So that one's so pretty. I love that. Okay. So we can set that aside. And then I'm going to do that paper saving technique. So the cardstock base is the Sahara Sand, and it's folded this way. The next layer is going to be Real Red, cut 4 by 5 1/4, and then this is cut 3.75 by 5 inches for that next layer. And because most of the Real Red gets covered up, I'm going to do a big die cut in there, and that's going to be a rather large die from the seasonal labels dies. This one's really big, so if you think this is cut 4 by 5 1/4, it does take up quite a good portion or chunk of that, but all I have to do is make sure that it isn't too close to the edges, because the edges are kind of the only thing that is showing on the card. So I'll cut that through with Real Red. I'm going to use both of those pieces, and then I have just another big chunk of Whisper White that I'm putting this on, and this is going to be where I'm going to do some more stamping and such. So let me just roll that on through. So that die gets cut twice. And then that's trash, and that die is done. And I think the only other thing left is this, and it's kind of like that pine cone stamp. So follow along closely. I think this, for me, is what works really well. So this actually is going to be stamped out a couple times. I'm going to start with just the little branch for my holly berries. And I'm going to take a little piece of paper here for that. And let's see, I'm going to do the Evening Evergreen, which is the darker of the two in color, the two new greens that they gave us, which I love. And so I'm just going to ink that up, and I'm going to put that on just my little scrap of white here, so you can see it just kind of looks like, okay, where's that going? And so that's why I don't want to stamp my holly berries on yet, because you can kind of see where they're supposed to go. But what I'm going to do next is do my die cutting, because that will definitely help place that where it needs to be. So with this, I'm just going to set that in there, and once I center in that little branch for that, then it'll be an easy cut to know how to cut that out, like so. And now it gives us the outline of where the berries should be. So not only does it just cut it, do you see where it's kind of raised and everything? It kind of gives it a nice little embossed look, which is perfect for guiding me to where those holly berries should go. So let me get back out my real red ink pad here, and then I can just, whoops, line it up. You still have to make sure that the stamp is facing the right way. So being this is a photopolymer stamp, it makes showing where this should go perfect on here. And you'll see it might look like a little mottled or such, and that is because this is a distinctive ink stamp set. So even these, hey there Barb, hi Val. So even the pine cones have different like distressed mottled look on there, and I love anytime Stampin' Up! Gives us a distinctive ink stamp set, because then you'll see kind of that same character. It almost looks like a character flaw, but it's on purpose, and it really adds a lot of rich depthness to your project. So it makes your reds look like there's different varying levels, and same with your browns and any color that you use. So that's really nice. They didn't do it with the greetings, which I'm glad, because we want those to be sharp, crisp, and clean. So let me grab some paper to cover this. And then the next two-step stamping I'm going to do is actually going to be on here, and I'm going to do it with the same color. Usually two-step stamping, like you've seen so far, I'm using two different colors of stamps or of ink, but this is the holly leaves, and I'm going to use the outline and the inside both in Evening Evergreen. So let me just kind of ink that up and put a couple leaves kind of facing that way. And then I'm going to do a couple leaves kind of facing that way. And this is going to be kind of the backdrop. This could almost be like a big Christmas gift tag, really. But this is kind of where all the stamping is going to happen. And then just to save on blocks, I have the inside, and that I actually am doing, like I said, in that same color. And so it's not very dramatic, but it just gives some depth. It gives you some lines in there. If I did the lighter color, it would show up a lot more. And Stampin' Up! Helped us out by connecting these holly leaves here, and also connecting the photopolymer on the veins that go on the inside. So automatic lining up, which is great. So when I ink that up, then those lines go right on there. And because it's drying, that first space is drying a little bit more, I think you can now see those lines and veins a little bit more clearly. All right, so that is done, and now we can just kind of do our layering on here. So let me push that aside, and then I can do my taping. So with this, you've seen me layer things, and I like to say like extend things. So these are the exact same die cut that I did, exact same shape here. So what I do for that when I want to layer to frame it and extend it, sometimes I just take my scissor, but with this one being so large, I just kind of eye like, hey, where's the middle? And it doesn't have to be too exact, just because a lot of it's going to get covered up. But then my next step is taking some of my adhesive here, and then I'm just going to put only so far up on here like that. And then I'm going to do that So now we have this being extended, and it looks like it's a whole nother larger size die, but it's the same die. It's just that we have that gap there. But there's going to be so much going on that people won't really see that the edges aren't connected. It's just a fun way to mat that. Hey there, Linda. So let me do some more layering. So this is where I bring back all my other pieces here. So this is from the free Celebration Peaceful Prints, and I'm going to just run my adhesive along the edges. I want to stay pretty close to the edges because we cut that die out of there to save paper and bulk. So I have that, and then I'm going to, oops, before I put that on here, I want to get some ribbon going, guys. So this is the Real Red sheer ribbon, and it is so pretty. It's just fine, thin, but yet sturdy, so easy to tie with. But it's just, I think it makes this card look so rich to add that on there. And you guys know me, I'm not going to do any kind of fancy bow. I'm just going to kind of take it over here to the edge and make a knot so that it adds to the card. But with so much going on the card, I don't want it to take away from that everything else pretty that we've done the die cuts with. So let me just trim that at an angle so we have a nice little bow looking tie there. And then now I can put on the adhesive, because we all have been there where we go to put this layer on the card and wish that we hadn't done that because that ribbon needs to be underneath there. Okay, so now I can press that on, and how fun and festive that looks together with the red making this pop against the Sahara Sand card base. And next I'm going to pop this piece up too, just to give that a little bit of a lift and such. So because it's a bigger piece, I'm going to put several of these on. My stamping friend Nancy loves dimensional. She'd probably just kind of try and peel this all off and stick it on there and have the whole thing pop up. We all have that one friend, right? So yeah, so these are the dimensionals that I'm going to put on here like so, and then just kind of center that. It gets pretty close to both the top and bottom, so it's a nice big centerpiece to your card here like so. And then the interesting thing that I'm going to do next is I'm going to take and put dimensionals on the back side of my pine cones. Whoops. Wanted to stick together and remain friends, I guess. I'm just going to put one here and a couple on here. But what I'm going to do with this piece here is I'm just going to put one at the top. And then same with the little holly berries here. I want it to kind of be flat on both of these pieces at the base, but at the top, I want that part to kind of just pop up a little bit. So both of these have like the perfect area for putting like one dimensional there. All right, so it's easier if I get all the backs taken off of here first, so that when I start to layer, then it all just makes sense. And then 'tis the season, it's kind of that long skinny sentiment, so I'm just going to take this nice edge there and snip that off, because that is just kind of sometimes leftover packaging, and to me that's just like a little piece of gold, because it just fits back here for popping things up so easily. Okay, so I'm going to start, for me it was easiest to start with my sentiment there, and I just kind of set that down. I didn't tap it down or press it down yet, because that's going to be kind of my base. And then next I'm going to take my pine cone, large and small, and just kind of tuck that in here. And then naturally we've got this little space here and here, and so that's where this is going to tuck in. Underneath there. Hopefully it hasn't stuck down too much with my dimensional. oh, maybe a little bit. It's got long. Okay, like so. And it's going to lay flat, but up at the top, it's going to pop up. So that's why it was fun and important. I didn't want it to get, like if I put dimensionals on that or on this piece down here, it's going to get these pine cones to really pop and stick up. So that's why I left it flat on the base and then gave it a dimensional towards the top to really pop up there. So you can see it's popped up there, but then it leaves everything else, like these are popped up, but at the base, and it's not getting too bulky in your envelope when you send that off. So, yeah, so just doing that, just like I said, a lot of die cutting and different things, but how fun and full does that card look? And it just looks so rich with the extra ribbon and such. And I haven't even embellished it yet. So next I'm going to take the inside here, 4 by 5 1/4, my usual inside, and let me grab my mat, and from that same suite of products, the stamp set that has the sentiments in it, I'm just going to stamp out, may this be a Christmas to remember and cherish. So that I'm stamping out in the real red, just to follow through with that red theme. And then to follow through with the greenery, I'm going to take that same sprig here and stamp that out with soft succulent and just kind of go over the sentiment. Because it's a lighter green, we can do that. And it's still going to show both the leaf, and then it also shows the sentiment because it's in that bright real red. It adds to it without taking over. So that's what I'm going to do for my inside, and that's ready to tape down like so. And then of course I have one more embellishment that I want to add. I think that Sahara sand, though, is so pretty with the red and the green, especially that soft succulent, I think is such a compliment to the Sahara sand. So anytime they come out with a new in color, I'm like, what's it really going to, you know, look like with all the regular colors that we have? And I think that's a great addition there. And then for my embellishment here, today my stamping friend Leah called and she wanted to order some wonderful gems. And I'm like, hey, Leah, I am actually working on a card that I think these would be perfect with. So it kind of spurred me to go, hey, let's put the wonderful gems on here. So the wonderful gems are kind of a carryover or a bring back item. These were in the holiday catalog last year. So real red, and they're kind of faceted. So there's different cuts to the surface of both of these that catch the light. And so some of these actually look like they've got like a little bit of a gold tint, which I think is perfect for just kind of this nostalgic look of this Christmas card. So I'm going to take one of the bigger of the faceted gems here. I should take one from the bottom because then it will actually stick versus just scoot to the next one. So I'm going to put that down there, and then a smaller one. I'm kind of choosing ones that do have more of the gold tint because I feel like that will actually, let me scoot it in here a little bit closer if I can. Maybe not. I think my adhesive is stuck where it's stuck, and that's okay. But I wanted to grab some that had a little bit more of the gold within there because I think that complements these pine cones really well. And then it just needs a little bit of red. So I'm going to take the smaller of the two sized real reds and put that at the top. So we have our usual pleasing to the eye odd number of 3. Hi there, Cindy. And so we've got a couple of those different sizes and then just that one real red one there. So that is Dawn Earlbeck's card number 3 for her virtual stamp party. So I know it's early September, but if you make several cards and want to get a head start on a special card like this that takes a few more steps, then it's probably time to be starting on that. And then we never know with Stampin' Up! Supplies and such how soon we need to order to make sure that things are in stock as well too. So hope you enjoy it. Today is my last day of demoing Dawn's 3 cards for her virtual party. And then, like I said, tomorrow I will start in with Pam Crankies, and I've got some great ideas for Pam because she said that she loves die cuts and different things. I know she loves blue. I have all these ideas in my head, and I hope I can narrow it down to the 3 for her party. So I will do her demos tomorrow, Friday, and then that'll be card number 1, and then card number 2 and card number 3 will be Monday and Tuesday. So if you liked Dawn's cards this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, how you can get those first 3 cards is placing a minimum $25 purchase using our host code here. I will also upload the still shot of today's card that I made with the host code too as a reminder. And then with the minimum purchase, then I mail out the 3 cards as a thank you from both Dawn and I for ordering through her party. And that is how it is for all my hostesses. So that's why you have to be host code specific. And especially this month, I have different things going on with different host codes. So if you have questions, please let me know. And I'm also happy to help you guys order if that's easier for me to order for you instead too. So thanks everyone for popping in, and I'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.